And since we're on the subject of government policies that kill people, we'll go now to the governor's race in Virginia, where Terry McCauliffe, another guy who's been sniffing in positions of power or sniffing at power for decades. The dude just won't go away. And now he's running for governor of Virginia again. And they had a debate last night. He was asked about late-term abortion specifically. So this is third trimester abortion. These are babies who are fully developed. They are, quote-unquote, viable, meaning they could survive outside the womb. How does he feel about abortion in that case? And here's what he says about it.
So the issue here is, in order for a woman to get an abortion in the third trimester, you have to have a primary doctor certify, and then you have to have 2 other doctors. The problems you have in rural parts of our state is there are not 3 doctors. So that really puts women in rural communities at a real disadvantage. So if they came up with a solution, in a woman's life has to be in danger, has to be certified. And if you have a legitimate doctor that says this woman, her life's in danger, of course I would support that. I'll do anything I can. And that's the difference. My opponent, as you know, wants to ban abortions. He has said that. He got caught secretly on tape saying, I will go on offense. I will go on offense to defund Planned Parenthood and ban abortions. And then he said, oh, but we're not going to tell the voters about it because if they find out, the independents won't vote for me. But don't worry, I won't go squishy on it. I can tell you this, to women watching tonight, I was a brick wall. I kept our 16 women's clinics open when I was governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia. And if we allow this Texas law, I can tell you this, Amazon, Google, Facebook.
Thank you,
it's dangerous for a woman's life, but it also is crippling to the Virginia economy to not bring these high-tech companies here.
Okay, so let's kill fully developed infants. We know the left, when it comes to abortion, they prefer to talk about the hard cases. They prefer to talk about, rape and incest. That's what they want they want this entire discussion to be centered around far less than 1% of all abortions. They also prefer to talk about abortions very early on in pregnancy. But the truth is that every single one of them, anyone who is pro-abortion or quote unquote pro-choice, anyone who identifies themselves in the year 2021 as pro-choice, it means that they support abortion through all phases of pregnancy. There are rare exceptions to that. McCauliffe certainly is not an exception. Now, the way that they dress it up is this whole bit about it's only to save the life of the mother. You need to understand, and I will continue to clarify this every single time it comes up. That is a fantasy. Okay? That category of abortion does not exist. It is never, underlined here, never necessary to have an abortion in the third trimester of pregnancy, or at any trimester, but we're talking about the third trimester. It is never necessary to have a late-term abortion to save the life of a mother. Never. Okay? There are certainly things that can happen in a pregnancy where a woman's life is in jeopardy, and it means that the pregnancy has to be ended. But there are 2 ways. In fact, there's only one way. In the third trimester of pregnancy, if you want to end a pregnancy, there is only one way to do it, and that is to deliver the baby. The question is whether you kill the baby before delivering him. That's an extra step. There is no medical reason to do it. So if a woman has a catastrophic health complication, which certainly does happen, and the doctor says, you're going to die if we don't deliver this baby, and the baby will probably die too, then yeah, obviously you're going to deliver the baby. There is no reason why you have to kill the baby first. No reason. That's an extra step. If anything, it's going to be more dangerous for the mother now because you're taking this extra step rather than simply taking the baby out. Now, we should also remember that life of the mother, everything these people say, you can't take any word they use or any phrase they use at face value. Never make the mistake of doing that. Because we know that real life of the mother abortions never happen and would never need to happen. So what are they actually talking about? Well, when you look at, and this is the case in Virginia, it's any of these states, when you look at the language in the laws and in the policies, what do you mean by life of the mother? What you're going to find is that they take a very expansive view about life of the mother cases. And oftentimes you're going to find that, if a mother's emotional, if she thinks that having the baby would jeopardize her emotional health or her psychological health or even her financial health, then that counts as a life of the mother situation for an abortion. In other words, any reason, anything could be affirmed as a life of the mother. Any reason a mother comes up with in the third trimester to get an abortion, they can find a way to make that a life of the mother situation. That's the reality. Now, so that was Terry McCauliffe. Let's go over to his opponent, this guy, Glenn Youngkin. And you can see, if you're watching the video here, you can see Terry McCauliffe points to Glenn and accuses Glenn of being wanting to ban abortion. He makes this slanderous claim that Glenn thinks that we should not kill any babies. But Glenn, the Republican, wants to make it very clear that this is not true and that he in fact, supports killing babies in many circumstances. Let's listen to his answer.
This is an incredibly sensitive and personal topic. And I do appreciate the fact that you would like to write legislation with me. I think the Texas bill is one that is the standard right now that we're all looking at. And I would not sign the Texas bill today. As I've said through this entire campaign, I'm pro-life. I believe in exceptions in the case of rape and incest and when the life of the mother is in jeopardy. But the Texas bill also is unworkable and confusing. What we're not doing this evening is talking to my opponent about his extreme views. See, my opponent doesn't want to talk about this topic tonight because he actually called legislation that would enable abortion paid for with taxpayer money all the way up through and including birth, where a child is kept comfortable while a decision is made whether that child lives or dies. He called that legislation common sense legislation and said he would sign it.
I haven't looked at the polls in Virginia. I don't need to look at the polls. I can already tell you that this joker is going to lose and deserves to. This brand of republicanism has been a loser for decades, even more of a loser now. I mean, it's never been appealing to the left. It's never been appealing to the blessed independence that you're trying to win. And more conservatives and people on the right are just fed up with it. So you're not really appealing to anyone. Rather than he's got an opportunity here in this debate with voters watching to stand up there and make the case against abortion, to explain why he is allegedly pro-life. It's not that hard to do. Yeah, he can say all he wants. This is an incredibly personal and complicated. It's not complicated. It's not even personal, really. It's very simple. It's not hard, if you're a Republican, or it shouldn't be, to stand up there and say, listen, I believe that it is never okay to intentionally destroy innocent human life. That's what I believe. And that principle for me holds true for all human life at all stages of development. That's not hard to say. It shouldn't be hard to say. And that is an argument that that snake on the other side there, Terry McCauliffe, he has no response for that. What you do is you flip it around and you say, Terry, so you believe that sometimes it can be okay to intentionally destroy innocent human life. And then he's going to say, well, no, that's not what I'm saying. Okay, well then explain to me. The baby in the womb, is it not a human? Is it not a member of the human species? What species is it? What is it, an aardvark? What an octopus? What if it's not a human, then what is it? Well, of course it's a human. Okay, so is it not living? If it's not living, then why do we need the abortion to kill it? Oh, so it is a human life, and so you do think that it's okay sometimes to intentionally destroy innocent human life. That's your position. That's not mine. That shouldn't be hard to do, Glenn. But instead he immediately goes on the defensive and says, "Whoa, yeah, I mean, I'm pro-life, but I still think that we could, look, listen, guys, there's plenty of babies we could still kill, okay? I'm on board with killing a lot of different babies. It's my opponent. He's the extreme one. Let's talk about his extremism." Nobody gives a damn about extremism. You call someone it's extreme. I wish you were extreme. That's what we want. You should be extremely pro-life. Stand up there and say, yeah, I'm an extremist. I am an extremist. I am extremely pro-life. He's an extremist. He's extremely anti-life. So you voters have a choice. Do you want someone who's extremely pro-life or extremely anti-life? This spineless jellyfish routine, it's not going to cut it anymore. It has never cut it. It's never been a winner. Republicans were able to get away with it, at least for a time, and sometimes win elected office playing that with that routine. Not anymore. There's no appetite for it. Well, I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Matt Walsh Show. If you did, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right down there so you can stay up to date on all of our future content.